So mentorship is something that can be super formal or it can be informal. For Wayfare, it's pretty informal. Let's say you have a group of people and we're all getting together because we love photography, and this person over here has been shooting for 5 years, and then another person over here just got a camera, right? And they're gonna come together and they're not gonna be like, hey, this guy over here is like, I'm gonna be your mentor, so come over here, we're gonna start this mentor relationship. That's not really what we're looking for, because one, this guy, he's not being paid to do this, and he's a volunteer. So mentoring, at least in my experience, as I've been mentored, is more organic. It's something that kind of just happens naturally, and you kind of say, I really like your stuff. Your stuff is awesome, and how did you do it? And the next thing you know, we're talking, we're texting, we're hanging out. Wayfare is not telling you to hang out. We're just like, hey, let's go get dinner. Let's grab dinner. Let's talk about photography. Like, how did you get that shot? Tell me what you did. How did you set up for it? Oh, I used an ND filter, put a 10 stop on there. I had to shoot for like 4 minutes. Man, can we go shoot together? And so then these things just kind of happen in a very organic, informal way. And that's kind of what we're after when we think about getting people together. Typically, a mentor meet is going to be something that is, a smaller group at 10, maybe 20 at max, and we have to make those decisions based upon how many volunteers we have. I mean, it's a pretty informal process, and even for a mentor meet, Wayfare is going to give some direction as far as genre. So maybe we're saying, hey, like landscape, mentor meet here we go. That's what we're gonna do. And everybody's doing it. But we have people in Chicago, that might not be something that works for Chicago. Sometimes these nuances are challenging to work through, but we take them on a case-by-case basis. Each community in its respective city has its own identity, it has its own circumstances. Chicago's gonna be a lot more city stuff, but Chicago folks are probably gonna wanna shoot something other than city all the time. So we may coordinate something that, we go to Michigan and we rent a house, and so there's something that's more appropriate for landscape. Right now for 2019, we're coordinating with our volunteers in Chicago on how do we do something and host something that is not just normal Chicago city stuff. Because of that, we don't really have this, you're not going to get a PDF handout that says, okay, these are the things that you need to do. Everything that we do is contextually relational. So you fill out a volunteer form, and then that form asks a series of questions, and those questions inform me as the founder as to what you're looking for, what your skill sets are, and then what ends up happening after that is we go into a conference conversation with all the volunteers in that respective area and figure out, okay, how do we do this? How do we get together as a team and do this? I do think that's reflective of the entire creative process, though. There are things objectively that we can know within photography. We know what ISO is, we know what manual shutter speed is. All these different things inform our creativity, but how we create is very intuitive. And I think that's the same thing for the meetups, is that the process is intuitive, it's creative, it's organic, and it's personal. It's personal to the community that, in the location that the mentor meet is. So I'm in Alaska, okay? Surrounded by mountains, bears, all kinds of cool, amazing stuff. But cityscape, that's gonna be a challenge for this community. Our skyline, we can do some stuff. There's some cool parks and stuff that we can go to. But as I think and work with other volunteers in the Alaska community, I'm trying to figure out, like, how do we do something that's unique to Alaska, that fits Alaska, fits our community, but is also creative and challenges and stretches everyone there to think outside of how they normally think. And there's not really a roadmap for that. There's some criteria that we can follow. We could have a genre, and sometimes Wayfare will set the genre, or the volunteers set the genre. Pretty flexible. But yeah, I think really that's how a mentor meet works, and that's going to grow and evolve over time. And because we're a flexible organization, and we're really kind of creating more of an organism than an organization, the processes are a little bit different, and they're a little more informal as to how we do that on a case-to-case basis. If this is something that you want to get involved with, you don't have to volunteer, but if you're interested in volunteering, we the volunteer form that I mentioned earlier, there will be a link below here to check that out and just fill out your information. And what you can expect after you fill that form out is I'll be in contact with you and we'll discuss over the phone, like kind of how you see yourself fitting in this community. And then from there, we'll decide how that's going to work out for each respective community. So if this is something you're interested in, make sure you fill out the volunteer form on the link below. And can't wait to chat with you and meet you, hopefully.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me!